All right, let's just jump right in. I want you to picture this. It's Jerusalem, and it's buzzing. There's a massive festival going on. The city is packed with people. And the one person everyone is whispering about is Jesus. He's this phenomenon, a miracle worker, an incredible teacher. But here's the twist. While the crowds are totally captivated by him, the most powerful leaders in the city, they're literally looking for a way to kill him.
So that brings us to the big question, right? If you're the most talked about person around, why are you sneaking around? Why travel in secret to the very city that's obsessed with you? Well, the answer to that question is where we find this incredible clash between a divine mission and a very deadly political plot. So our story really kicks off with this secret trip. It's the Festival of Tabernacles, which is a huge deal, one of the most important Jewish holidays. Pretty much everyone is heading to Jerusalem, and you can feel the pressure building for Jesus to make some kind of grand entrance. And the conflict starts right inside his own family. You know, his brothers, who, by the way, don't even really believe in him at this point, they basically tell him, hey, go public. If you're the real deal, stop hiding out here. Go make a name for yourself in the capital. But Jesus, he knows something they don't. He completely rejects their advice and decides to travel under the radar instead. And here's why. He lays it all out for them. This isn't about being scared. It's all about timing. He says, point blank, the world's power structures hate him because he calls out their corruption. See, his mission isn't about getting famous. He's operating on a totally different schedule, a divine one. He knows that a big public entrance right now is basically a death sentence, and it's not time for that yet. So he slips into a city that is just a powder keg of opinions. The leadership is actively hunting for him. The crowds are whispering back and forth, completely torn. Is he a good man, a prophet, or is he a fraud who deceives people? But look at that last point. It's crucial. Nobody is saying what they think out loud. The fear of the authorities is so thick you could cut it with a knife, and it has totally silenced any real public debate. And then about halfway through the festival, boom, the whole strategy changes. The secret trip is over. Jesus walks directly into the lion's den, the temple courts, the absolute center of his enemy's power, and he just starts teaching, openly. And the reaction is immediate. It's just shock. The religious officials are completely baffled. They're looking at this guy, a carpenter from Galilee, someone with zero formal training from their schools, and he's speaking with this incredible authority and wisdom. They're just scratching their heads, asking how? Where did he get all this? And this is his answer. He doesn't take any credit for himself. He says, look, my teaching, my authority, this isn't my invention. I'm a messenger. Everything I'm saying comes from a higher source, the one who sent me, God. This is such a critical moment. He's not just claiming to be a good teacher, he's claiming to be a divine representative. So just as they're questioning his authority, he completely flips the script. He goes on the attack. He accuses them, the supposed guardians of the law, of being the real lawbreakers. And then he drops this bombshell question right out in the open for everyone to hear. Why are you trying to kill me? He just exposed their secret plot to the whole crowd. And this just shows you how disconnected the public was from what was happening behind the scenes. The crowd is just stunned. They think he's lost his mind. They're like, you're demon-possessed. Who's trying to kill you? They have no idea that the very men who want him dead are standing right there among them. Then he just dismantles their main accusation, that he's a lawbreaker for healing on the Sabbath. And he uses their own logic against them. He basically says, okay, wait a minute. You guys will perform a ritual surgery on a baby on the Sabbath to keep the law of Moses, right? So why are you so furious with me for making a man's entire body healthy on the Sabbath? He just perfectly exposes their hypocrisy, showing how they care more about rigid rituals than they do about actual human compassion. As you can imagine, this public showdown just blows the lid off everything. His bold claims, his sharp logic, it completely splits the crowd and forces every single person there to ask themselves, who is this guy really? And the debate gets intense. You've got some people, probably those who knew about the plot against him, and they're amazed he's even speaking freely. They're whispering, maybe the authorities changed their minds. Maybe he really is the Messiah. But then you have this other group, and they're shaking their heads, saying, no way. We know this guy. He's from Galilee. The prophecies say the real Messiah will just appear. Nobody will know where he came from. So Jesus hears all this chatter, and he makes his most direct, most explosive claim yet. He shouts it out for everyone to hear. He's essentially saying, you're right, you know me, you know where I'm from, my earthly home. But you have no idea about my true origin. I come from the one who sent me. I mean, this is it, a clear public declaration of his divine nature. And the reaction is just chaos. Pure chaos. His claim is so provocative that some people try to grab him right then and there, but for some reason they can't. At the exact same time, his words are actually convincing other people, and many in the crowd start to believe in him. And the whispers of belief get so loud that the Pharisees hear about it, and they officially send the temple guards to go arrest him. So get this, on the last, most important day of the whole festival, with an actual arrest warrant out on his head, Jesus stands up and makes this incredible offer. In the middle of a hostile city, surrounded by people who want him dead, he offers spiritual life, this promise of profound inner renewal to anyone who will just believe. So by the end of it all, the division is just complete. No one is on the fence anymore. People have picked a side. You have one group saying, this man is definitely the prophet Moses talked about. You have another group that's all in. He is the Messiah. And then you still have that third group, stuck on the details, arguing, it's impossible, the Messiah has to come from Bethlehem, not Galilee. And all of this builds to the story's conclusion, where the official plan to arrest Jesus just completely falls apart, and we start to see some major cracks forming within the leadership itself. This part is just incredible. The temple guards, right? The armed muscle of the religious authorities, they come back to their bosses without their prisoner. And their excuse is mind-blowing. It wasn't because he got away or because the crowd protected him. Their reason was simply, no one ever spoke the way this man does. They were so captivated by his words, they just couldn't bring themselves to arrest him. Well, the Pharisees are livid, absolutely furious. They can't believe their own guards fell for it. And the response is just pure contempt. They insult them, and then they dismiss the entire population as this ignorant, cursed mob that knows nothing about the law. Not like them, of course. But then, a dissenting voice pipes up from inside their own ranks, Nicodemus. And it's so important to remember, he's one of them. He's a member of the ruling council. But we know he'd gone to Jesus secretly, at night, because he was intrigued. He had questions. And he just throws their own rule book right back in their faces. He poses this simple, devastatingly logical question. He asks if their own law, the law they claim to be experts on, actually allows them to condemn someone without even giving them a fair hearing. He's calling for due process. And the council's reply tells you everything you need to know. They don't even try to answer his legal point, because they can't. Instead, they just mock him. They insult him, question his loyalty. What, are you from Galilee now too? And then they fall back on their own flawed interpretation of Scripture, completely ignoring his valid point. And that leaves us with this final hanging question. You have the temple guards, who were eyewitnesses to Jesus' power, and their testimony is just thrown out. You have Nicodemus, an insider, making a valid legal challenge, and he's just ignored. So it forces us to ask, when what people see and hear with their own eyes clashes head-on with what a powerful institution has already decided is true, which one is going to bend?